Welcome to Feminist Frequency Radio.
I'm AC Lamberty.
I'm Kat Spada.
And this is the podcast that asks you to be critical of the media you love.
This season, we've got some fun new segments where we're discussing what we're watching, reading, and freaking out about, with special guests and more surprises.
Ooh.
Today, we're talking about Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, the fifth entry into George Miller's post-apocalyptic action epic, set chronologically about 2 decades before the events of 2015's Fury Road. Anya Taylor-Joy and Elila Brown play the child and adolescent versions of Imperator Furiosa, who was introduced to us in the previous installment by Charlize Theron. Chris Hemsworth co-stars as Wasteland Warlord Dementus, and Tom Burke plays Furiosa's mentor/lover, Praetorian Jack.
Whatever you have to do, however long it takes, promise me you'll find your way home. Furiosa, give me this promise.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
I'm Furiosa!
The darkest of angels. The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic?
The film brings us back to the radioactive Australian outback. No rules, just right. That's the outback, right?
Yeah.
Where young Furiosa lives in relative safety among the women of the Green Place. After she's kidnapped by rogue bikers, she begins a journey of revenge for the mother who was killed trying to rescue her, and a never-ending desire to return to her childhood homeland, protecting the secret of its location from the warlords Dementus and Immortan Joe. We see her learn how to work on Immortan Joe's machinery and war rigs, eventually becoming one of the drivers between the Citadel, Gastown, and Bullet Farm. It's a real Yentl for our age.
Oh my God.
All right.
Imagine if they had made this movie with Mandy Patinkin as Praetorian Jack.
That would be hot. I would love that. Okay. My biggest feeling after this movie is like it or not, summer blockbusters are here. And I don't like it. I don't know.
I mean, but you'll change your tune when Twisters comes out.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a movie I really was looking forward to because I loved Fury Road so much. Even though whenever I saw the trailers, I was like, I don't know if I am ever excited about Anya Taylor-Joy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think she's good. I just am never like, ooh, the new Anya Taylor-Joy is here.
It's the annoying kind of business lingo I've adopted from like industry podcasts. It's like, well, can she open a movie? It's like, I don't know if she can, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll just get into it right now. Like, I mentioned these 2 actresses who play Furiosa. Like, I remember kind of being like, really? They had to cast a younger actress? Like, they couldn't just do like Charlize Theron again?
Yeah.
But
you guys made this story up. You could set her at whatever age you want. Totally.
And then like starting the movie, I was like, oh, she starts at age like 8 or something. Like, it is a child. But then every article was like, well, we didn't want to do the de-aging because look at The Irishman. It sucks. And yet we used AI to like blend the child actress's face and Anya Taylor-Joy's face. So what's the point? Like,
That's how I felt about kind of the whole thing was like,
what's the point?
Like, truly, like, okay. I mean, as a piece of original IP, like, this just feels like the way into it. The casting and making up the actual story. It's like, I don't know. I found myself not really feeling anything compared to Fury Road, where I felt a lot to great effect.
I think Fury Road was kind of groundbreaking in the sense that, like, a lot of franchises try to revitalize themselves, and I don't think any of them really have been as successful as Fury Road. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, Star Wars will never be unsuccessful or whatever, but it's like, there were the 3 original movies, and then there's just like a never-ending stream of Star Wars ever since 20 years ago. I feel like a lot of people have never seen the original Mad Max movies, and
myself included.
I've seen 1 or 2 of them, like, on TV when I was a kid, I guess, you know. But definitely, like, in the movie theater for Fury Road, I remember seeing it with my sister and us kind of looking at each other and being like, I've not enjoyed a movie this way in so long.
Totally.
Like, what an experience I'm having.
Not
And
to
then
be
now,
so Harry Styles, but like it really felt like a movie.
it really felt like a movie. And welcome to 2015. Like, literally, the Me Too movement existed, but like the Hollywood Me Too hadn't happened yet. To be in that moment, I feel like was also like, it's about a woman.
Yeah, totally. That's very real, I think.
Yeah, like, oh my God, Charlize Theron is like the actual star.
I have some like thoughts on the gender of it all, in that like I don't necessarily think she was even given a kind of 3D development in Furiosa. I don't know.
I mean, not to say this about the filmmaker behind Happy Feet, but but like, it's weird that this is a coming of age story.
Yeah, I agree.
To me, like, there's something that's like, is this supposed to be a child? Like, I feel like this is just a small adult is having this story happen.
I completely agree.
Like, that was, I think part of it was like, this wasn't just like, I'm learning, I'm developing, I'm grieving, I'm like a girl. It was like, oh, you already know and love Imperator Furiosa, but what if she was Lul?
It's true, and it's like she says maybe 4 words of dialogue. She has her big eyes and her bald head. Like, she's like, sure, the iconography is cool, I guess, but I came out of it again feeling pretty much nothing one way or the other about grief or coming of age or gender or any of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, I think this is sort of like the feminist frequency radio ethos. Like, I have a lot of bitching to do about this movie. I also like, I'd say for at least 75% of it, I was having a good time.
Yeah.
But it was too long, and it ultimately just felt unnecessary. Like,
completely. That's a good word for it.
Yeah, like, there were big parts of it that I was like, for sure gonna see it on the big screen. I wanted to see more of the war rigs and the doof warriors and all of that,
totally.
like, explosions and crazy shit. But I think it was just a really tough setup, like a setup to fail from how amazing Fury Road was. Like, this movie's not going to win any Oscars.
Yeah,
like, Fury Road won a ton, right?
Yeah, I remember it won Best Costume Design for sure. I also, like, not that I've had a lot of interesting, bad, good movie-going experiences, but my experience in the theater was one of complete disinterest from the audience. Like, it felt really, I don't know, sterile in the audience I was in. Nobody really had a reaction either way. And it, again, like you said, like, this was very surprising for me. I was pretty disappointed because I was looking forward to this going in, but, you know, didn't live up to the hype. Unnecessary feels completely apt to me.
Yeah. And, like, I wouldn't lay any of this at Anya Taylor-Joy's feet. I don't think it was, like, her fault by any stretch. But the thing I think that was surprising is that, like, Mad Max Fury Road, you go into it and you're like, that was Tom Hardy, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, Tom Hardy as Mad Max. Yes. Like, oh, wow. And then Charlize kind of surprised me. That was my experience anyway. With this, Furiosa : a Mad Max Saga, I was kind of like, here we go. Here's Furiosa. And instead I was like, oh, I mean, Chris Hemsworth was the best part of this movie.
Absolutely. Like, oh, Chris Hemsworth, what a delight.
Yeah. I thought he was great. I thought, like, my sister did not like the facial prosthetics that he was wearing.
I didn't, at the end of the day, I was like, I don't know why you had to do that, but like, more power to you, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like they were like, we're going to make Chris Hemsworth ugly, but, like, I still would.
Yeah, totally. I felt like it in some ways made him hot. Or
but he was great in it. Like, he was funny and scary and seemed like an actual, like, villain. I was like, this is a really yeah, good villain character for the film library. But all right, you said the gender of it though. Like there is a big storyline. Like even I think before we really get to know Furiosa in Fury Road, not to make this a podcast episode about both movies, but I think the movies are obviously supposed to be in conversation with each other, is about these wives and rescuing them or protecting them from the like lifetime of torture
Abuse,
that they yeah. And so this movie, it was like, well, the one woman is Furiosa, except also she comes from like an Amazonian land, I guess.
Of like lush, beautiful greenness and like powerful women kind of thing.
Right.
Very Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Like, I think that the first movie had this element of like, it's a masculine landscape without the male gaze being like the whole thing. Like, the fact that George Miller's wife did the editing to like have it be less sexualized views of Rosie Huntington Whiteley and Zoe Kravitz.
Totally.
And this movie was just like, I feel like at this point, 10 years on, Hollywood's like, well, it's about a woman. So what else do you want?
Totally. I think it really hinges a lot on us remembering that about the first movie, too.
Totally.
Like, oh, remember that she is saving these women and that's kind of her whole goal. Because again, in Furiosa, I found myself asking, what does she want? What is she doing? What does she care about? And it's like, oh, I guess like similar to like what you just said, it's a movie about a woman. So that's why we care. In the movie, it's like, well, they're women. So that's why she cares. Do you know what I mean? Which feels like nothing. And I also, I don't know if stay with me here, but the Tom Burke, who is a really hot, weird looking British guy who has been in some of Joanna Hogg's movies. That's at least what I know him from. He plays Praetorian Jack, who's like one of these big truck drivers who kind of takes her under his wing. And I can't, like, it is romantic, but it's not. I don't know. That, like, also didn't work for me. I kind of wanted them to, like, make a clearer call on the romance, because I think that is an interesting way to show agency if it's done correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a little disappointed in that, too, in terms of gender and what we think can be feminist and not. You know what I mean?
Tom Burke, who played, the only thing I know him from is playing Orson Welles in Mank. LOL.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
I
thought Gary Oldman played every character in that movie.
Yeah, it was his Norbit. Yeah, that is interesting, because like I guess I just was like, I guess they're lovers, but it isn't super clear. Like, they have a little like embrace, like head to head thing, which is the same thing she did with her mom at the beginning. So it could just be like, we're family. #family, #Vin Diesel. But
a family can look like anything.
Her whole thing is just like, I'm gonna get home, which is perfectly enough to be like her reasoning behind everything. But
very screenwriting 101. What does she want to get home? Like physical,
And she has this little like star chart that she draws on her arm to remember the journey. But I guess it kind of felt like she was just like so much a part of the world too, that it was like, oh, well, maybe she just wants to be in charge. Like maybe she wants to just have like not be a victim. But I guess, I mean, ultimately, like, I really did stop caring about that motivation. And this is like the problem with any prequel, maybe, is that like, okay, well, I know, right, she's going to lose her arm and she's not going to find her way home, because she doesn't do that until Fury Road, at which point she discovers everything has changed. So
what happens to Praetorian Jack in the end, too? Does he get destroyed somehow? I truly don't remember.
He gets dragged around by a car.
Oh, right.
Okay, this is like touchy, and I'm not sure how I feel like what I'm bringing it up because I think it's interesting to talk about, but like there is a somewhat of a lack of sexual violence in this movie. And I'm certainly someone who, like, there's plenty that I watch where I'm like, this is just way too much sexual violence. Like, it's so unnecessary. However, it felt like lacking in a way. And I think that is part of, like, the gender question. Like, she pretends to be a boy, which could be for a number of reasons. But, like, there's these little allusions to, like, chastity belts or, like, being the wives of Immortan Joe. Right. And Chris Hemsworth's Dementis is kind of like, yeah, I'm making sure nobody, like, messes with her. But that was just this kind of other element that I feel like, I'm not saying this because I'm like, there should have been more, but just it felt like one of those things that a filmmaker could be like, it's a story about a girl, thus she will suffer in this way. So it was just notable to me that we don't have to really face that. We face all sorts of other traumas, but not
No,
that.
I feel that. And that, again, to me, too, speaks to the desire for this to have more, like, iconography potential than it maybe does.
Right.
Thinking about it, like, the sexual violence and that kind of explicitness in Fury Road, which I think is way more apparent and obviously way more part of the central conflict. I don't know. In us talking about it, I went into this movie really excited and was like, oh, I think this is actually going to do really well at the box office. But I do think I'm kind of deranged because talking about it, it makes a lot of sense why this has been, like, kind of a flop, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing in a way. But I don't know. I just don't think I needed to see it at the end of the day, which is a bummer.
Yeah. I'll
what
be
do you
curious.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I'm certainly going to rewatch Fury Road at some point.
Yeah.
I've already, I've rewatched it since seeing it in theaters. And I'll be interested to, like, report back if I'm like, you know what? Actually, watching it after Furiosa, I felt like there was this completeness like that I have heard. But so far, I'm, like, still waiting for this movie to wow me.
For sure. We can do a bonus up about that. I do want to ask what you thought about the action, just because I know that's always a huge talking point with Mad Max. I thought it was good, fun. It didn't give me that same kind of thrill that the first one did, like you were talking about, like, actually being in the theater and seeing it and being like, holy shit, this is so cool. But, it had its moments, of course. I don't know. What did you think?
So there was, it's, this is like a really terrible analogy because everything in the Fast and the Furious movies is so fake. But where in each movie, or like Mission Impossible, each movie has to have the big set piece, James Bond, or the big, like, new thing where it's like, oh, but that's the one where they did parkour. Like, that's the one where they played with this new weapon or whatever.
Yes.
So I felt like that I had that expectation for sure of, like, okay, well, Fury Road showed me stuff I never could have wrapped my head around, all this practical stunt work. And what are they going to do in this one? And so they had these amazing aerialists, like these paragliding.
Those are cool, for sure.
People who were, like, fighting against the war rig. That was awesome. But it also had, like, a little bit of that prequel problem of, like, oh, well, they haven't developed all of, like, the advanced military tech that they're going to, like, have in the next movie. I put big scare quotes around that because, like, this is just a bunch of, like, weirdos in the desert, like, huffing paint.
It is something, like, I don't know what about this universe makes me feel like it's particularly clear to me that this is completely made up and just, like, from the twisted mind of George Miller. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. So he was like, I don't know what interview if this was from 10 years ago from now, but where he was like, in the original trilogy, I thought in the apocalypse, everyone's going to be, like, wanting oil. Oil is going to be the big resource. Now, water. Like,
he and James Cameron need to link. It's crazy. Oh my God.
Oh, I'd love that, actually. And imagine their hybrid idea of a powerful woman.
That would be demented. Not to hearken to Dementis, but, like, wow, that would be insane.
Oh my God. And it would be like, It'd be like Sabrina Carpenter in her film debut as a powerful woman. Oh, wait, she was an actress, right? I like literally learned that today.
She was in Tall Girl, the feminist film Tall Girl. She was not the tall girl.
That's right. No, she was the small. She was the small girl in Tall Girl. That's right. The Twisted Mind of George Miller. So this is something that like I am curious about, and I feel like there's NDAs or there's just like issues, and I have not heard George Miller to be like a Stanley Kubrick masochist or anything, but Anya Taylor-Joy was like, I don't want to talk about what it was like to make this movie.
Oh, really? I have not kept up with like any of the press or anything.
She did press. She did the full like press circuit for this.
Whoa.
But she said it was extremely challenging to do this movie.
Wow.
Primarily, I think what she said was not having much dialogue meant that she felt just really isolated and alone. Like she was filming for weeks and weeks and weeks, not saying a word on screen and just doing physical work, which was really hard. But also she was like, there was a commitment to safety, but she was put in these really perilous situations. Yeah. And obviously, you know, Uma Thurman on Quentin Tarantino's set, like, got very seriously injured doing a car stunt. So here's a quote. When asked what proved more difficult than she expected on the Furiosa set, the actress said, "Next question, sorry, talk to me in 20 years.
Damn. Wow. I haven't seen any interviews or anything she's done. That's wild. But also not out of line with, like, I remember there was a lot of Charlize Tom Hardy drama.
Right.
During that filming. Not that that is the same thing here, but, like, that was not a pleasant set for her either.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, George Miller is an irresponsible director or treated them poorly, but just, like, the nature of this is a grueling... I tell grueling stories where characters go through horrible things. Is kind of like...
to what end, genuinely? Like, when this is the product, not to be rude.
I mean, right. Like, because I feel like Lars von Trier is doing it because he's getting off on it.
Oh, for sure.
You know, George Miller is just like, well, is anyone going to match my freak? You know,
yes. Part of me too is just like, did it just fucking suck being in Australia, which might be part of it. But I'm also kind of fascinated about it as a piece of Australian cinema and like a unique, horrible barrenness, and like look at what our life in a post-climate apocalypse is going to be like. But I still think that's too generous of a read.
There were a couple
for
of
the austerity
other,
of it. I mean.
But some framing choices that are wild to me is like, it starts with a little audio of like news headlines, like as if like we're hearing the end of the world happen. And they're like, the triple pandemic has like given way to a hurricane. Like it was some like a weird thing. And I was like, George Miller, you don't need to be like, this is our world.
It was
like,
very Civil War, the Antifa massacre.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think we get it. I think what you're saying is this is we're like, that just felt so...
Imagine a society. Yeah.
Well, like 5 movies in, why are you doing that? Like, you know.
Corny as hell.
I
mean, it just reminds me of, you can't do that in a post-walk hard world. I know it's not a rockumentary or anything, but the headlines whooshing and whirring and all of that. Ugh. Wait, I'm looking at your note and I'm seeing you wrote, whoa, remember 3,000 Years of Longing? That is wild, actually.
That movie... I know that came out during the pandemic, and yet I was like, that movie came out 20 years ago.
I know. I mean, lest we forget Witches of Eastwick, which is one of my favorite movies ever. But he is like, I don't know if this style is going to bring him much commercial success anymore.
No, I hated 3,000 Years of Longing.
It was pretty mid.
I did not care for it. I thought there was some weird... Maybe it was all from the novel, like just some stuff in the story that I really did not care for.
Yeah.
before they cast Tom Burke, by the way, it was going to be Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That would have been stunning. I mean, I do like Tom Burke, and I thought he was hot in kind of a Paul Mescal way, but
Yeah.
Yahya is so beautiful. It's crazy.
He is, and I've been watching, speaking of Australian, okay, I've been watching The Get Down.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
No, but I love Baz, so maybe I should.
It's wild. And it only lasted 2 seasons, and by the second season, they clearly had their budget slashed, and like half of it is just bad animation for like some reason. They're like, don't worry, Jaden Smith's character is a graffiti artist, so this is his art. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is just like some Schoolhouse Rock
storyboard artist.
But I was kind of used to Yahya in Watchmen as like a stoic character that would have really worked in the Mad Max world. And then in The Get Down, he's like huge and coked up and just
that sounds
vicious.
hot.
It's great. It
Love
is great.
That.
I'm really
He's
digging
amazing.
it. And it's like, how is it the most mature Justice Smith performance I've ever seen? Also, randomly,
I saw Angelica Jade Bastian of Vulture write something similar in her review of I Saw the TV Glow, which is very interesting.
Although not ever to disrespect Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which I did love. But yeah, I guess this movie ends also with like found footage from Fury Road, just kind of being like, and here's what happens next. And
I feel like the way this conversation is going is how I feel about this movie. It's like we're getting sidetracked because there's a lot more around it that is more interesting than our experience viewing it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Ugh.
Weird. Some weird choices. So
interested in the future of everybody involved, to be honest.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like there was a time where Anya Taylor-Joy was the girl. Yeah. And I don't know what's next for her, I don't think.
Queen's Gambit too.
Fucking kill me. I was thinking about that the other day. One of the only people that did not like that show, which I don't think is surprising, but whatever.
I mean, but she's just drugs.
She's crazy. She plays chess on the ceiling. It's so crazy.
I'm sure this note in the show notes doesn't make any sense to you, but I wrote, I don't know if Eve Ensler returned to set this time.
I would like an explanation.
According to the Wikipedia for Fury Road, Eve Ensler was invited to the set, the writer of the Vagina Monologues was invited to the set to talk to the cast about sexual violence.
That is so 2015. Wow, that is so 2015.
That is 2015, but like way ahead of its time. That is 2015 living in 2018.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like and I can just imagine that this time they were like, I think we're good. I think we
got it.
We covered everything we need to cover.
Trust they have an intimacy coordinator who's got it handled.
And yeah, I mean, my only other note was Chris Hemsworth's wife, Elsa Pataki, plays 2 roles, including a rogue biker with like facial scarring.
Go off.
You just know Chris and Elsa were in the makeup trailer like, oh my God, they're giving me funny teeth. Oh, no, they're giving me a scar. This is
Babe, come here.
fun.
Babe, come here.
What if we looked like this? Oh my God, what if we weren't like perfect human specimens? Could you imagine?
Oh, man. Well, big Australia, this chokehold on Hollywood continues. First, Anyone But You, then The Fall Guy, now Furiosa.
Now this.
God damn it.
All right, AC, I think I'm going to put you through the ringer for this one.
Let's go. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So this week, the game, the Dementus deranged game that we play is not called What's Wrong With Me. Because if I were going to do like a Who Am I Crushing On guessing game, House of the Dragons is back. The answer is Emma Darcy. Duh. Next question.
Did you see that
right?
tweet that's like they're looking like Al Pacino on the red carpet? So funny.
I have to say, I'm not I'm not on board with the grills on Mix Emma Darcy, personally.
Being non-binary can be so insane. This is what I'll say. So funny.
Fair. No, in fact, this week the game is called What's Wrong With You? Unfortunately, it is a calling out and a calling in because this is a Pride Month themed game. Oh no, did you freeze? Because I said
wait,
it was...
No. You froze like right as you were going into explaining.
Perfect.
Okay.
We're good. Okay, this month is Pride Month. So the game is thematically related. I have looked up several of the categories, nominees, and winners of the 2024 Queery Awards.
Oh my god. This is like the exact D-level media awards show that I probably know people who went to.
Like, my dream is that you somehow become like the executive director.
Oh my
of the
god.
Queery Awards.
And I'll get you to host. There we go.
Can't wait. Cannot wait. These awards were held in March, so like several months ago. But obviously, my only exposure to them is when I'm listening to a podcast about Drag Race, and they say, "Oh, we were nominated for a Queery," and like that's the last I ever hear about it. So I looked up
kind of a logo TV.
Yeah, like brand new when they were like, "What if more Bravo?" So I looked up several of the categories, not all of them, and I am going to present to you some of the nominees for these categories and ask you to guess who won.
Oh my god, okay, let's go.
Now, I will say that a lot of these categories had like 10 nominees. I picked 5.
They wanted to maximize who could be at the ceremony, for sure.
Absolutely. They were like, we need, can we nominate Addison Rae for something? Maybe she'll walk the carpet. Exactly. So in no particular order, here are some categories for the 2024 Queery Awards. Can AC guess who won?
Let's go.
In the category of badass, presented by Lexus.
I'm like crying. That's not anything. Okay.
It's not even best badass, most badass.
It's just badass.
Badass. Among the nominees were Dylan Mulvaney, Billy Porter, Ncuti Gatwa, Bella Ramsey, and John Waters. Can you guess who was the winner?
This also could have fallen under the Nightmare Blunt rotation game, which I'll be determining at the end of this. I'll determine which is my nightmare at the end of this game. Oh my god. I'm going to say Dylan Mulvaney, although I have to imagine she would be nominated for like every category if this is how it's going.
Lexus was like, get our name out of this conversation. We can't deal with this right now. You are incorrect. Bella Ramsey won Badass, presented by Lexus, and Ncuti Gatwa was the runner-up.
Oh, so they deigned to announce runners-up. That's crazy.
They did. They sure did.
Wow.
In the category, how are we going to get through these? In the category, Best Feud, presented by FX's Feud, Capote versus the Swans, Wednesdays on FX, stream on Hulu. Among the nominees, listen up because you're not going to believe a single one of these. You're going to think I made every one of them up. The nominees include Joan Rivers versus Miss Piggy, 2024.
What?
Mariah Carey versus J-Lo.
Oh
Elizabeth Taylor versus Debbie Reynolds. Coco Montrese versus Alyssa Edwards. And Perez Hilton versus Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh my god.
Not a one of these is current, which is fine.
This
I guess
feels offensive.
Feud is a period piece. Maybe they were like only old feuds.
I'm gonna say, wow, this is insane. Like, you're sick for this, Queer Tea, whatever you are. I'm gonna say Mariah and J-Lo.
No. The
it.
winner of Best Feud presented by FX's Feud Capote versus the Swans Wednesdays on FX, stream on Hulu, was Coco Montrese versus Alyssa Edwards.
I mean, that's what I would have voted for if I were so lucky to be in the voting body.
The runner-up was Joan Rivers versus Miss Piggy, R.I.P.
I'm pissed off. I know I'm not going to get a single one of these right, and I'm mad. Okay.
I'm
okay,
thrilled
so it's
about
popular vote. Oh, okay.
Who knows? I did not look up. Is this voted on by people, or is it a secret cabal?
Is it ranked choice?
Okay. Best Insta follow presented by Lexus.
Oh, wow, Lexus, a premium sponsor.
The nominees include Ricky Martin, Ryan Jordan Alvarez, Zaya Wade, Chriselle Staus, and former Macho of the Week ER Fightmaster.
Oh my fucking god. Okay. Jesus Christ. This is like depressing me rapidly.
Okay, well, let me put you out of your misery because I actually didn't name the winner or the runner-up in that list because I knew you wouldn't know who either of them were. The winner was Matt Bernstein.
Who?
And I do follow the runner-up on TikTok, which is Matthew and Paul.
Girl, is that like the gay lighting designers or whatever?
No, it's a pair of husbands, but one of them is blind. They are just like hot content creators.
Wow. They're giving queer teas to anyone these days. That's insane. That's so wild.
Back in my day, you had to be somebody. You know?
had to campaign.
All right. For the category of anthem.
Oh.
Now we're getting more into like actual like pop culture.
Okay.
The nominees include Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl, Chappell Roan, Alone, Kim Petras featuring Nicki Minaj, Rush, Troye Sivan, Vulgar, Sam Smith and Madonna, and Padam Padam, Kylie Minogue. What do you think the Queer Tea awarded as anthem?
My question back to you. Which two of those were in my most played songs of last year?
Ooh, okay. I'm going to guess Rush.
Correct. That was number one.
And Alone, Kim Petras featuring Nicki
Incorrect.
Minaj.
It was Padam Padam.
Oh, well. If you just flip it and reverse it, you get the winner and runner-up.
Padam Padam won, Rush.
Padam Padam and Rush. Which
Wait, I actually love that.
Those are great. Those are such good songs.
I would say anthem about either one.
Totally. Total anthem.
Wait, totally.
Oh my goodness. Get ready. Now, the last few are about movies. I skipped all the TV categories because they were boring. I'm just inferring that best is part of these category titles, even though it's not there.
So stupid.
What was the Queer Tea comedy movie? The nominees include Bottoms.
Just
Barbie.
Comedy movie?
Comedy movie. You know
Most comedy movie.
In order to get an MTV Moon Man, you had to have a best kiss. You had to have a best fight. Here we're just comedy movie. The nominees include Bottoms, Barbie, Dix the Musical, Theater Camp, and Red,
God.
White, and Royal Blue.
This is taking me back to like October of last year, and it is a dark place.
Yeah, you and me like literally getting into a fist fight with people at the Theater Camp screening.
Oh my God. I mean, if I were voting, it would be Dix. I love that movie. I don't think it won. I would say, Listen, I'll just say Barbie.
Yeah, listen. Barbie won the Queerty
Finally,
for comedy
Barbie
movie.
won something.
We didn't win any Oscars, but we did win a Queerty.
Oh, and thank God for that.
The runner-up was Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Of course.
Speaking of Uma Thurman.
Maybe
Now,
the idea of you will take it this year.
and now for drama movie. The nominees
Extremely
include
drama movie.
for dramaticest movie at the Queerties. All of Us Strangers, Saltburn, The Color Purple, our fave documentary, Rock Hudson, All That Heaven Allowed. I actually listed a bunch. I think I listed all the nominees for this one because I wanted you to truly
This is
guess.
so funny.
Naiad, Cassandro, Passages, Rustin, and Knock at the Cabin, which I forgot was a gay movie.
I think I've seen all of those. I saw all of the Queerty drama movie nominees. What can you say? Well, it's not All of Us Strangers. That's for damn sure. And it's not Passages.
It's not like the actual gay movies. It's like Barbie. Barbie somehow also wins for drama.
Imagine if Passages won. That would be insane. Knock at the Cabin.
Ben Whishaw showing up to accept a queer tea.
I don't even know. Rustin?
Nah, Saltburn is the winner
Shut
for
the
queer
fuck
tea.
Yeah.
But the runner-up
May surprise you.
is Coleman Domingo starer The Color Purple. Oops.
Whoa. Got me
Not
there.
Rustin. Gotcha.
Damn.
Whew. All right.
Congrats to all the winners.
I've got two more. I'm sorry, we are not done. I have got two more for you. Film performance. So just generally not musical or comedy, not drama. Certainly, this is a non-binary category. Just film performance.
I've been saying that films are nothing without their performances.
The nominees for film performance include Jodie Foster, Naiad, Trace Lysette, Monica, Coleman Domingo, Rustin, Kaimana, Next Goal Wins, Sherry Cola, Joyride.
Yep.
Who do you think won? Spoiler, it was none of those.
Barry Keoghan, Saltburn.
The bathtub. The winner was Dan Levy of Good Grief.
Be so serious right now.
Did you see that?
No, I did
just
not.
watched it like 2 weeks ago.
Thoughts?
It's not good, but like
I hear there's a big plot point set in a Loewe.
there is, and it's the least believable thing.
That's
He
so
goes
weird.
and he's like, "My husband died. Will we refund this stuff he bought?" And they say yes. I'm like, these Parisian Loewe employees would not refund you.
Sacre bleu. They would not
Sacre
care. Anyway.
Runner-up was Andrew Scott, All About Strangers.
Oh my God. Oh my
so
God.
Andrew Scott has to take that to the grave.
Gay people playing gay people is really important, as the Queerty Awards proved.
Imagine if you're Andrew Scott and you got snubbed for a beautiful film performance by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and then you lose a Queerty to Dan Levy in Good Grief.
You know they were at a party together at some point last year, and they had to be like, "Oh my God, your performance was magnetic." It was incredible.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, somewhere Luke Evans is like, "I was in that."
Maybe he's the blueprint. Like, maybe he has it right, you know?
Oh, yeah, you have to act for 21 years before you get a gay role, and then
And then nothing has stakes, and it's fine. Anyway.
final category, next big thing.
Okay.
Now, if any of these indicate to you what they mean by next big thing, please fill me in because I'm confused. The nominees for Next Big Thing include, now remember, this is for March.
Okay.
Challengers.
Oh my fucking, it literally is just Thing. Okay.
Trixie Motel, Drag Me Home. Wicked, Part 1. Joker, Folie à Deux. Young Royals, Season 3.
Okay, I mean, this category actually really speaks to me, and I think I did create this category. I'm going to say Joker 2, Folie à Deux.
Unfortunately, did not make the podium.
God damn it.
The Queer Tea winner for Next Big Thing is Young Royals Season 3.
What? What?
The runner-up is Trixie Motel, Drag Me Home.
Oh my God.
Pray tell.
I am so out of touch.
What is Young Royals?
It's like, I think, a Spanish language teen soap opera kind of thing.
Okay. Oh,
or is
okay.
that Elite?
Like
I
a
think it's
Heartstopper?
like similar. Yeah.
Man. Next Big Thing.
Challengers, eat your fucking heart out. I guess. You will never make it. Well, happy Pride.
I'm going to use that sound. That's going to become your ringtone for me, is you angrily saying, well, happy Pride.
Patreon exclusive. You guys can download that. Man.
Wow. And with that, we'll see you next year at the 2025 Queer Tea Awards.
I think we could get carpet access.
Oh, we'll see you at the junket. That's our show for today. I'm Kat Spada, and you can find me at cat_EX_Machina on Twitter or CatXMachina on Letterboxd. No underscores there.
I'm AC Lamberty, and you can find me at AC Lamberty on Letterboxd and Instagram.
Feminist Frequency Radio is hosted and produced by us and edited by Rob Para. Be sure to follow us on all the socials at FemFreak, including our new Letterboxd page. If you like the show, please help other people find it by subscribing, rating, and commenting on your favorite podcast app.
Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.